The latest in tech suit innovation. Frictionless fiber construction. Surface lift technology. Endo compression cage. Seamless exo shell. Tier Benzo. Battleborn.
Hello and welcome back to Deep End Live, the brand new show for British swimming that's going to bring you all the elite swimming, para-swimming and diving action from across the UK. My name's John Mason, and this year in 2019 we're going to be heading to Edinburgh in April for the British Swimming Championships and the British Para International Swimming Meet. But first of all, we are here in Plymouth, beautiful Plymouth, for the British National Diving Cup 2019. Now this show aims to bring you not just the live sporting action from the pool, but of course get you up close and personal with all of your favourite athletes. We're going to meet them, get to know them a bit better, have some fun and have some games, enjoy ourselves a little bit. in this brand new studio. Let's take a look. Lots of stuff happening here. We've got a leaderboard started already. Chris and I playing some games. I've got some guys coming in a moment to play with me. We've got baby photos. Look at this. This here is Tom Daley. Oh, bless. That, Maddie Lee. That one up there. Just adorable little kids. We love it. So we're going to get to know our athletes a little bit more, but before we get to that, we're going to take a look at our schedule. So let's have a look. This morning, we saw the men's 1 meter final and women's 1 meter final. We're now moving on to the women's 10 meter synchro and the men's 3 meter synchro in this session. Loads of exciting stuff. It's going to be incredible to kickstart the finals tonight with that one. Of course, lots of action happening day 2 and day 3 as well. If you do want to tune in, all the action is available on British Swimming's website. Of course, you can tune into their YouTube page or BBC Sport Online and BBC Connected TV. Now look, like magic, ladies and gentlemen, I'm being joined by Tom Daley and Maddie Lee. Woo!
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Thanks for coming down, guys.
Thanks
Joining
for
us on
having
Deep
us.
Live. Great start to the weekend this morning, the men's and women's 1 meter. Do you guys check it out?
Yeah, the competitions are great, and the one thing that I have noticed from these competitions is the number of people that have come to participate in the competitions. I remember back in 2004 when I was diving at the Nationals, back in the day, when there was only like 8 divers in the competition. Now you're seeing like 20 plus, 30 plus in some events.
It's really exciting, I mean, to see the growth of that sport, certainly in the UK as well, and watching them come down to a big competition like this. As for you guys, it is sort of a big outing for you as a new partnership. Maddie, how's that been?
No, yeah, it's going really well. We're looking forward to competing on, well, tomorrow in the synchro. And yeah, and like I said, it's like National Cup is a big competition for us, even though it's not got the whole world competing here. But this is where we qualify for all the other events in the year, so it is a big one, and we're both looking forward to it.
I mean, you haven't been training together for that long. Last year as well was a big year for both of you, moving to London, new dads. How's that sort of been affecting everything?
I mean, like everything affects everything in different ways.
Of
I mean,
course.
with Robbie being in the world now, it's been the most amazing thing. Matty comes around quite often. And
He's so cute, honestly.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Yeah. And you know, it's I guess it changes your perspective on a lot of things. And having Matty now as well to train with in London. Dan and I, going into Rio 2016, only had 9 months training, and we trained at opposite ends of the country, whereas Matty and I have 18 months to go to the Olympics, and we are training in the same pool every single day. So I think there's going to be massive benefits to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know everyone's excited to sort of see how you guys progress over the next 18 months and in the lead up to Tokyo. Maddie, we found a photo on social media earlier, and it was you, very, very young, with a slightly older Tom Daley. Did you ever think, you know, back then that this would be happening?
Back then it was, because obviously I was a massive fan of Tom's. I
Yeah.
was a little kid and he was so successful at such a young age. And I just remember like seeing him, I was like, oh Dad, do you think I can get a photo of him? And then we did, and I was like, and then it's just weird to think, we've been friends for a while now and I've been competing against him or with him for a while, but now that we're doing synchro, back then I didn't think it would ever happen. But I'm just really happy to be a synchro partner.
Yeah.
Well, look where we are.
Just rolling with it. Now, I know you guys are competitive against other teams, obviously, as a synchro partnership, but we want to know how competitive these guys are against each other, okay? So we're going to play a little game, all right? We've already started a leaderboard up here on our Best of British. Chris beat me. We got 31 to 27. So what I'm going to get you guys to do, one at a time, is come over here.
Matty, you go first.
20, yeah, Matty, you're up first.
I need to know what I got to beat.
I'm going to put 20 seconds on the clock. Got to use your thumb and forefinger, that is it, okay? And in 20 seconds, you need to move as many of those over as you can, one at a time. All right, you got the rules?
Yeah.
All right, first up is Maddie Lee. Let's see how he does. 3, 2, 1, go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's doing well!
Look at that finger thumb action.
Come on, Maddie! 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Come on, you got 5 seconds. 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 30. Stop! Oh no!
That was like 30 and a half.
30 and a half. I'm sorry, we can't count that. We can't count that. So that's 30 and a half for Maddie Lee. Just behind Chris Mears.
I'm actually
going to be
really nervous right now.
Tom, the pressure is on. I tell you what, you handle it pretty well though. Feel it?
Nah, he's beating. He's beating.
You know, Chris is up in commentary now, just praying you guys don't beat 31.
Yeah.
All right, come on, you got 20 seconds on my count. Come on, Tom. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go on, mate.
3, 4. Oh no, 3, 4, 5. 6,
Tom is the most competitive
7.
person
Come on,
I
Tom
know.
Daley.
So he's going to go for it.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Halfway there. We're almost there. 24, 25, 26. Come on, Tom. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Stop.
I don't even know how many
I
that
lost
was.
count. Do you know how many that was?
I did not count
You know
that.
what?
A few went on the floor.
4, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
like
14,
we'll have an error of
15, 16,
counting.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
What about all the ones on the floor?
The ones on the floor
Yeah,
don't count,
They
Tom.
don't count.
They don't count.
Get out of here.
Well, look, guys, we've got your scores. Where's my Sharpie here?
So we bo-
Write
we
your
both
scores. You get 30. Maddie Lee, 30 and a half. Tom Daly, write your scores
I
on
wish I
there.
never gave you the
30 and
half
30.
now.
What are you whinging about? I only got 27. I'm way down the bottom. There you go. Write that on there, guys. And here are your magnets. Get them up there. Oh, above me and below Chris. All right, so guys, back to our competition. Yeah, you can get them up there, guys. Back to our competition, of course, it's the women's 10-meter synchro. Amazing teams in there. Let's talk about some of them. Of course, we've got Eden and Lois.
Yes.
Guys, European champions, right? How do you think these girls are going to do?
I think they're going to do a great job. It's been really interesting, actually, with our training camp, seeing how they're progressing as a synchro team, and they're two young divers.
Yeah.
They're one of the youngest teams out there in the world, so they've got so much potential, and it's going to be exciting to see where they start this season. And we've got 5 World Series to go yet, so they're going to get a chance to compete against each other quite often.
Yeah, and I mean, they did incredibly well last year. See how they did this year. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. We've also got Robin Birch and Gemma MacArthur. Maddie, new team. This is a new partnership, isn't it, like you guys? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so it's a new partnership. They've never competed together before, and they've not done much training. Obviously, Gemma's in Edinburgh and Robin's in London with us.
Yeah.
So obviously they can't train every day together. But you never know with new pairings. Like it can either be really, 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 really good, or maybe not that good. But we'll just have to see.
It's going to be wait and see. Finally, another pairing. We've got Emily Martin and Phoebe Banks. They're looking pretty good. Thoughts on them?
I was really, really impressed with them in training, actually. They're looking really sharp, and they can go into the water pretty clean, so they could be the underdog of this competition.
The underdog. So basically, this could be anyone's game, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
All really strong. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see. Any advice you'd give out to the athletes out there who are sort of, these girls that are heading up onto the podium?
I don't know. Yeah, just honestly go for it and don't think otherwise, and don't be negative either. Just all positive.
Trust the process, bit of confidence,
Exactly.
right? I love it. Well, guys, we're about to head over to the competition. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
It's
us.
been a pleasure
Thanks for
having you
having
here.
us.
Good luck with your competition this weekend. If you guys want to keep us up to date, get in touch with us, ask us any questions, we can get them over to the athletes. Hashtag NDC 2019 or hashtag DeepNLive. But for now, it's up to Bob and Chris in commentary. We'll see you in a bit.
I so wish we got a picture of Tom Daly's face after that competition. It was a picture. I don't think he'll be talking to you for quite some time, Chris Mears.
He's definitely bitter, and he put himself above me on the scoreboard.
I know.
I'll be changing that
We'll
when
need
I
to
go
rearrange
back down.
that, don't we? Daly, you're a loser, boy. You're a loser.
Yeah.
Right, on to the women's 10-meter synchro. Only 3 pairs going. Actually, I'm looking down the list. I have no idea who's going to win this, to be absolutely honest. It should imagine be Eden Cheng and Lois Tolson, shouldn't it? But,
Oh, yeah. Lois and Eden, even though Eden is young of age, she is actually quite experienced now. New to the scene last year, and she really showed that she's good under competition competition environment. Her routine with Lois, I think they're working on it. I think that was something they'll be working on this year, especially leading before the games. But yeah, they're a really, really strong team, and the dives they've got are really good.
It's really interesting, though. All 3 pairs we will see don't train together. They train at different locations. Crystal Palace leads, Southampton leads, Dive London, Edinburgh. You're talking about 350 miles.
Yeah, and that works for some people, but for me that really wasn't cutting it, and that's why I made the move to Leeds to train alongside Jack, because it really does. It's more than being a synchro partnership is more than just diving next to the partner. It's knowing them and knowing what they're thinking when they're on the board, and that was something me and Jack really invested in. And I think it's best to really know your synchro partner that well when you're stood up there on the board.
Well, obviously, Tom referred to it. Matty's moved down to London.
Exactly.
They're together now.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. And obviously, you got a situation with... Well, what happens with Dan and Jack, though? Because they're not together, are they?
Well, they don't live together, but in the same place. They're both in Leeds, so they train together every single day. And that's what you want, really. You want to be able to train every single day, know each other really well, see how hard the other one's working, and that can push you even more. And in turn, that pushes both of you to go to a level that you've both never been before. And I think that's what's really important about that.
Other interesting thing about this is that the first pairing and the third pairing will go with exactly the same dives all the way through. So we'll have a like-for-like
little battle.
Robin Birch and Gemma MacArthur will go with, I say, exactly the same dive list. Emily Martin and Phoebe Banks will have a different list, which is, not quite as strong because there's only one 3.2 in their program, but they are the younger pair of consideration here. So remember, it is 5 rounds, and I know I've been saying this for many, many years. The first 2 rounds are the 2.0s. You can't choose. You can choose what dive you do, but you can't choose anything above 2.0. So you could choose a really big dive, but still only be worth 2.0, whatever you do. So back dive first off for Eden Chang and Lois Tolson. First time on the 10-meter board today.
Really nice entries there from both of them. There was a little bit of a discrepancy on the board as they both took off. I think Lois maybe was a little bit quicker than Eden, or I don't know what way round that was. Maybe one was hesitant, but overall, not a bad dive, but they're going to be wanting more than that, especially on a world level. These girls do compete on a world level, and 49.50 is more where they're going to want to be.
Remember, we've got execution marks and synchronized marks. I won't go through the calibration how we get to the final score because that's a bit complicated, but obviously it works the same way that we would do with the individual diving. Marks get taken off, so on the screen you'll see lines through certain ones. Back dive 2 for Emily Martin and Phoebe Banks.
Both nice entries again. There was a little bit of a distance issue there, as you can see on the far side. Emily Martin was... Phoebe Banks, on the further side, was further out than Emily Martin there, which is why you've got them synchro scores a little bit down.
Yep, 41.40 for Emily and Phoebe. Now Robin Birch and Gemma MacArthur. They too will go with the back dive. In fact, looking at the program, first 2 dives are exactly the same from all 3 pairs. And we have a change from round 3. But back dive it is for Robin Birch, 24 from Dive London, and the 20-year-old from Edinburgh, Gemma MacArthur.
Now Gemma there, she really overcooked that. Maybe she's a little bit nervous coming into this event, as they know that whoever wins this will be qualifying for events. So really over-rotated on that, and Robbins wasn't much better, but she did hold down a lot more splash than Gemma managed to.
Only good thing is you can't do a lot of damage with a 2.0.
Yeah, sometimes these easy dives, they're actually really hard to pull off. I know I really found it difficult when I was competing. I found the hard dives the easiest, and I found it hard to control my nerves.
Because you think, well, this is rudimentary. This is something I should be doing in my sleep.
Exactly. But then in turn, that made me more nervous because the control factor to, say, a back dive, it's like you have all this adrenaline, especially if you're standing up there in Olympic Games, and it's like, right, okay, now obviously I want to change the world right now, and I want to do all these somersaults, and I want to kill it, but it's like, I've got to do these 2 really easy dives
round
first.
3, mate, you've got to wait till round 3.
Wait till round 3 and then let the cannons off.
In Worlds, you got, especially in qualification, sometimes you got 12.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's
got to wait your turn.
That's the early scores then. So 43.80 leads, not a great score. We'll say with these 50 is kind of the cutoff, I would say. If you get 50, that's about right.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, in my opinion, at Nationals, the judging is very harsh. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because then when you go to, say, a Worlds or a Europeans or a World Series, sometimes you see the scoring is actually better than it was at home, so you kind of feel better about your score and about your diving.
You want to import the judges from abroad. Can you come back to Great Britain and
come back and mark our Nationals?
So second of the required is the reverse dive for Cheng and Tolson.
Now that was a much better dive than the back dive they performed there, which is really good. They'll want to carry that one over. Again, I think actually was better than 47.4, but a little bit harsh there on the 7.5s and the 7.5 in the synchro. I think the synchro was pretty good. But nonetheless, it was a steady dive. They'll be fairly happy with that.
Yep, should keep them in first place unless something exceptional happens from the next two. Second pairing are Southampton Diving's Emily Martin and City of Leeds' Phoebe Banks. And again, this a reverse dive for them.
That was a nice dive. Synchro was really, really good. Emily Martin showed really good form there as she goes back. She got a rip entry. It was nice. Could have held down a little bit more splash. Synchro scores are higher, but you see the execution was slightly lower.
Big question I always get asked from people about platform. How do you keep the splash down? Because you're going from 32 feet or whatever into water at 35 miles an hour. So how do you keep the splash down?
Yeah, I think it's all about body positioning. And it's alignment, really. Like, obviously, your arms want to be above your head, and you want to squeeze both your hands together and create that kind of vacuum that really pulls and sucks the water down with you. But if there's something slightly out of line, then it all just goes completely wrong, which I've got good experience with, as I'm a springboard diver.
Every diver will
Not
have.
great on tower.
Do you do? You must have done it at some time.
I did it for a number of years, but then I went down on springboard.
Very
only.
wise.
Yeah.
Very wise. Reverse dive now for Birch and Gemma MacArthur.
The synchro was out there. Gemma kind of skipped it forward. Robin standing it up. Robin kind of doing the technique that is desired. That's much better, and getting a rip entry as well. I think Robin's actually done a really nice dive there. I think it kind of deserves a little bit more than that. But sometimes in synchro, when the other pair does a bad dive, it's easy to undermark your dive, because it's almost an overall impression kind of thing you get.
And we all say the judges only have that one look. They don't have the replays that we have to look at them, so you have to judge on what they see. You still want a sneezing session right in the middle of a 10, do you? I missed that. What happened?
Yeah.
Long chat going on with the that's their respective coaches. Yeah, Jane's there as well. So
Jenny leaving.
Jenny on the right, Jane on the left. It's been quite interesting because the coaches have to also, you know, mesh together, don't they? They have to come up with the same ideas. You can't have two coaches going with different things. Going, I think you should do this. And the other coach goes, I think we should do that.
Yeah.
So it's not only you got two divers from two different programs together, you got two coaches
and
from
two completely ideas sometimes. You're totally right. And you know, the idea of a synchro team, especially if you're going to do the whole, you know, I live in this, you know, in this town, and I live in this town, let's do a synchro team, then you've got two coaches that don't necessarily, you know, communicate on a daily basis about what kind of training they're doing and stuff like that. So that is quite a difficult concept, really.
Especially if you want to change something.
Yeah.
You know, you
like let's learn a dive,
yeah,
or let's put a different dive in.
I think we should try that in the tuck position, or that in the pike position, or whatever it might be. And go, oh, not sure about that.
Yeah.
On to round 3. Remember, 5 rounds in the women's. When we get to the men's 3 meter, which is up next, I say next would be at 5:35. We've got 6 pairs, including half of the gold medal winning team from Brazil. The other half is talking, not doing today. So Eden Cheng of Crystal Palace and City of Leeds, Lois Tolson with forward 3.5.
Eden was just slow there in her pike shape. Lois took that down. It was pretty nice, but you see Eden just behind there in the somersault, which isn't what she wanted. And actually, I think I missed Lois's dive. I thought she did it well, but it was covered by the splash of Eden's dive. She also went a little bit short, I think.
Yeah, judged in a much better position to judge that than we are, up high, but 53.10 opens the door for Birch and MacArthur for their dive to come, which is exactly the same as we mentioned. Every single dive being replicated by the third pair, not by pair number 2. They're going to go for something different here. They're going to go for the forward 2.5 and 1 twist, which is actually not worth 3, it's worth 2.9.
It's a difficult dive to do off the 10-meter platform. You've got to have a lot of control. And for low DD as well, it's very difficult to get marks on.
Yeah, in terms of risk and reward, it's a strange one, isn't it? But we'll see.
They land it upright, it's nice. Again, not a lot of reward for how hard that dive actually is, but they've executed it really well.
No, 62.64 is not bad, not shabby. There's an 8 in there, which helps.
Yeah, that does help, and it counts.
So that will, just do quick calculations, I think that probably takes them above.
Yeah, they are. They're
Cheng
above
and Thompson,
yeah, they are, definitely.
So Robin Birch and Gemma MacArthur, it's all getting a little bit concertinaed now, if they can do a good dive here. Forward 3.5. Same dive we saw from Eden Cheng and Lewis Tolson. 53.10 is what they got. I think Birch and MacArthur will be looking for 60 plus on this. In fact, I know they will. Take off different times though.
Gemma's really not having a good competition here, heading into the optional rounds. And she cruises straight onto her back on that dive, unfortunately. Robin goes slightly over, but Gemma really, really flunked that.
Well, we have the most inexperienced pair of the 3 actually leading at this stage.
Yeah, interesting.
Emily Martin and Phoebe Banks, 17-year-old and 18-year-old respectively. Birch and MacArthur just not quite doing what the coaches want from them, but no real damage done yet. Although that was a good third round score from Martin and Banks.
With the experience of Lois in the Eden and Lois team, I would expect them to step up now that they know it is a straight final. It's theirs for the taking. Although they are in second place and they're 6 points behind or so, it's all for the taking. There's still 3 more rounds to go. 2 more rounds to go. Yeah, you're right. 2 more rounds to go.
Forward.
My bad.
Inward 3.5 for Cheng and Tolson. Then, as we mentioned, it will be same for Birch and MacArthur, but Martin and Banks doing their own thing. Forward 3.5. The only thing is, they have a 3.0 in this round. Cheng and Tolson have a 3.2. Can make a lot of difference.
They've got in with 3.5. That's a strong dive for them. They've performed it well all over the World Series and at the World Cup too. And they had some strong hit-outs with this dive.
But amazing thing is, that was last year. And a lot can change when you've not been doing it competitively for a while. You've got to get back in that rhythm, back on the horse again.
Yeah.
In with 3.5 then. 3.2 for Eden Cheng and Lois Tolson, who've got a bit of catch-up to do.
That's more like it from the girls. Both dead upright. Not the best dives they can do, but both really steady dives, both landing on the head. Eden throwing up a little bit of splash, but 66.24 for them girls. They'll be much more happy with that, and the coaches will too.
Yeah, biggest mark so far for Cheng and Tolson. So what can Martin and Banks do in response with a different dive? They've got the dive that Cheng and Tolson did in round 3. That's the forward 3.5. They'll finish on the inward 3.5, which is worth exactly the same as the dive for Cheng and Tolson and Birch and MacArthur, but so slightly down on DD here. Not a big lead either. We don't have a mic up on the platform, so I can't tell who's doing the counting. We'll look at the mouths. So I'll need to do a counting on this one.
And that's a nice dive from the girls. Really, really, really nice. Nice pike shape, nice entry. Synchro was pretty good. 66.6.
Well, they've actually gone better.
It's a bit higher than the
Cheng and
girls.
Tulsa with a lower tariff dive.
That's interesting.
So 217 is where they are now. So it just opens up the lead, not by much.
Just very slightly.
Yeah. But obviously rounds are running out now. And they all finish on 3.2, so there's no differential there. These two have got to get going. They're not out of it yet, but this has got to be, what, 70s? 75 if they could.
Yeah, no,
it's
it's got to be high.
3.2.
Yeah, mid-high 70s. It can be done on this dive. It's a tall order.
Ooh, again, they left at different times.
Yeah, again, just not enough finesse from the girls, really. Especially Gemma just doesn't look very confident when she stood on the board. And I think the judges, they do pick up on that. Even when you're stood on the board before you've done your dive, they can pick up on that. You know, if their perception is you're nervous, then you know, they're going to mark you down.
Well, I was about to say it's 2-horse race, but obviously there's 2 in each, so 4-horse race in effect.
Yeah.
In the women's 10 meter now between Cheng and Tolson. The good thing from Eden and Lois's point of view, they can lay down the marker. They can set the target. 1 round to go in the women's 10 meter synchro. I'm sure we haven't got more depth, but 7 points the lead. 217 plays 210. So it's not a lead you can sit on.
No. They can be caught quite easily by the girls. The girls have got a really strong back twist as well. That's what they'll be ending on. When I'm saying the girls, I'm referencing Eden and Lois. They've got the back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists in the pike position.
The other problem with only having 3 pairs is the length of time it takes for them to get back up to the top again. Because normally you can
it does take a while.
work your way up with 6, 7 pairs. But here,
it's quite difficult.
The turnaround time is quite short.
When the turnaround time is really short, and you've got a routine to do, obviously you base your routine of having maybe 8 pairs in. So that's why they're slow to start the round.
So, last dive for all 3 pairs. And it will be for Cheng and Tolson and for Birch and MacArthur. Back 2.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. 3.2, more straightforward in terms of the way I could say it. Inward 3.5, not actually more straightforward dive to be honest, but inward 3.5 for Martin and Banks coming up next. So 7 points the difference between the 2 pairs.
It was a nice dive. It wasn't great, but it was good. Eden washed over slightly. Lois looked like she took it down pretty well. And I'm right this time. I did see that dive. It was good. Eden just a little bit splashy there, but 72, their strongest dive in their list. They'll be fairly happy with that, but 282, they can go over 300 quite easily on a good day. So it's not bad, but it's not their best performance.
Okay, the equation is 65 or more.
And they've got inward 3.5 tuck, which means they have exactly the same degree of difficulty as Eden and Lois, so they have a good chance of taking this home.
Yep, they will know. They'll have done the calculations in their head. You probably know that Birch and MacArthur are mathematically out of it now. Working on the basis that you keep your best dive till last, which is what a lot of divers do in synchro. Is this their favourite?
Let's find out. Oh, and it's a good dive.
Is it good enough for 65 though?
It's a good dive. We'll see. The synchro was slightly out. It's not enough on this occasion, which is a shame for the girls. They would want to take that home. It's 1 point. 282 versus 281. So close.
Yeah, not even a full point. It's 0.8.
0.8.
Between the two of them.
It's cutthroat.
So Birch and MacArthur just really diving for pride now, because they can't realistically catch top two. So again, same dive that Cheng and Tolson rounded off with. Here's the one that they will do as well. Back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists.
Must have been some good encouragement there from Jenny Leeming, Gemma's coach. She does a much better dive there. She can do it better, but I think the place that she was in the rounds before, I think she ended it on a more positive note, which is good for the girls. 62.4, they can do a lot better, but I'm sure they'll be looking for the next nationals now.
Yeah, 235, way shy of where they would like to have been, but look how tight it was at the very top. 282, please 281. 285, 28. Yeah, exactly that.
So close.
So came down to that last dive. We thought it probably would do, and so it did. Birch and MacArthur a little way shy of the rest. Well, that's good for the rest of the year for Cheng and Tolson. We know can dive and will dive a great deal better than that. As you were saying, 300 plus is
yeah,
when they get onto the World Series tour.
They can do that. Definitely, it's in their realm.
Just tell you, before we hear from our winners, we will do surely the men's 3 meter synchro coming up at 5:35. Likes of Dan Goodfellow, Jack Law, Ashley Harding and Jordan Holden. We saw them earlier on. They're going together. Leeds and Sheffield combination. The Haslam boys will be in there. Ross looking for a double today. James Heatley and Yona Knight Wisdom. Both from Edinburgh, of course, these days. Mark Lee, Timothy Lee, Singapore will be in the field. And we'll see Cameron Gamage again. The Southampton pairing with Leon Baker. That's the men's 3 meter synchro. 5:35. That will be underway. Parade at about 5:30. That's your result. The Cheng and Tolson say they'll be looking to the World Series. Of course, the World Series in London in May. Good to have that back in this country again. Look forward to that in the middle of May. Back at the Olympic venue, the Olympic Aquatic Centre. All the top British divers will be there. Most of the world's top divers will be there as well. Very much looking forward to that. Just waiting for our winners to get into position. We've got them all sorted with microphones, and any moment now, I'll throw down to our studio and just a reminder that we've got 2 more days of competition here at the British National Diving Cup. We're on air from 10 tomorrow on our YouTube channel. Right, let's go and hear from Eden and Lois speaking with John.
Oh, congratulations, girls. Nice gold medal to start your weekend off. How was that for you guys?
Quite up and down, quite challenging as well.
Yeah.
Seeing everyone, like seeing Phoebe and Emily go after us. I kind of felt some of my dives a bit shaky, but there's room for improvement.
I mean, it's the start of the season, of course, and this is the first sort of big outing for you guys of 2019. What in terms of moving forward, what are we looking at sort of working on and stuff as we progress into the major meets?
Yeah, I mean, this competition is definitely just about blowing the cobwebs off and like getting back into the competition field. And so I feel really happy that we've done that. Yeah, I think our dives could have been better. But we haven't been able to train that much leading up to this, so hopefully get a good block of training in and get our synchro even more together, and I think the dives will just come. So.
And I mean, as a partnership, you guys are training at different places and things. How do you find that sort of working, coming together and finding that time to get this partnership working?
I mean, it's quite challenging since I'm still at school. And I'm in my GCSE year, so
Big year.
From last year as well, missing so much school, it's quite hard to learn everything. even though I love training with Bliss and I love that time which we can go, which I can have the opportunity to train with her in Leeds, and also it's a good opportunity to see my sister as well, since she's at uni there.
Oh, is your sister there too?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it easier, I suppose. And in terms of like looking forward at the weekend, all of today's competitions have been incredibly tight, incredibly close. What are you looking at watching? What events that you aren't in that you're excited to see?
I think everyone's looking really well watching the training, but I'm looking forward to, I think, the men's 3-meter individual. I think that'll be a really good one. Yeah, all of them, I think.
Yeah,
It's going to be a good national.
I think men's platform as well is going to be very interesting, very close.
Exciting way to finish off the
Yeah.
weekend. Now, girls, up here we have our best of British. These are photos. So I've got a Polaroid camera here. I'm going to get your photo. You're going to sign up for us because you are our new champions of the British National Diving Cup in the women's 10 meter synchro. Love that. So, smile for me, Eden. Smile for me, Lois. There we go. Beautiful. We love that. Right, I'll get you guys to sign this, but congratulations. Good luck for the rest of the weekend. I hope you enjoy yourselves down here in Plymouth. It's been a pleasure to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our new champions. Still to come, of course, lots happening throughout this weekend. We've just seen the women's 10 meter synchro. We've got one more final tonight. It is the men's 3 meter synchro. And of course, the rest of the action happening throughout the weekend. All right, we do have lots of people that help us put these events on, but we couldn't do it without our volunteers. So let's take a look at this VT and hear from some of them. I'm being joined by two of the hardest working people in the building. This is Gail and Colette. They're some of our volunteers. Ladies, what did you role at this event?
I'm here as Director of Events. And I'm here to announce.
I love this. Now, you've been volunteering for years now. How did you get involved in it?
Well, our children dived, to be fair, and you sort of start off where you chaperone events, and then you get a little bit involved because they ask you to come onto poolside. Oh, we need some help, we need some help. So, yes, of course, I'll come down and help, and it all starts from there. It snowballs.
It snowballs. And
snowballs.
you ladies met each other, didn't you, volunteering?
Yes, we did.
Now firm friends?
Absolutely.
It always seems like a lot of fun, right?
We do have a lot of laughs. Yes.
So, in all the time you've been volunteering, what is the best event you've ever volunteered at?
Olympics.
The Olympics, London?
The Olympics in London was
London
fantastic.
2012.
Amazing.
Best Olympics to ever happen, I think, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Now, why should someone at home, if they're sitting there watching, thinking, you know what, I want to do that, give me a reason why they should get involved?
It's a lot of laughs. We have a good time, and you're giving something back to the sport that maybe your children are involved in. Instead of sitting on the balcony, sort of being really nervous while they're competing, you can come down and help.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's good fun.
We always enjoy ourselves. And, you know, if you're young, it looks really good on a CV if you volunteer.
It does?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's no end in sight to this volunteering, you're saying?
No, not at all.
You're here to the bitter end.
Yes.
We love that. Of course, if you at home want to get involved and join the team just like these ladies did, head to British Swimming's website. All the information is available there for the brand new Events Volunteering Hub. So check it out. Well, there you have it. We just saw the completion of the women's 3 meter synchro. Next up is the member. Before we get to that, I'm being joined in the studio by someone very special. She needs no introduction, but I'll tell you who she is anyway. It's the legend that is Grace Reed. Grace, thanks for coming down.
Thanks so much. Yeah, great to still be by the pool all this time later. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'll just put that a bit closer down. We want everyone at home to be able to hear you. Started your competition this morning, day one. How are you feeling as we sort of kicked it all off?
Yeah, I'm glad to get going now. Like, it's been a little bit of a long build-in, so I'm glad to just sort of get my campaign underway.
Yeah, and I mean, we spoke about this earlier. Last year, this time, British, you did have an injury, you weren't able to compete. Is it nice to be back at the pool in Plymouth?
So good. You know, like last year I was so frustrated being injured. It's a horrible feeling, and to have come back and feel, you know, pretty good coming into this, it's a much better place to be in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you had starting off like that last year, you finished on a high as well. It was such an incredible year for you. The last few years, I think, if we look back on them really, have been out of this world. Sum that up for us, you know, what's that been like?
A bit of a whirlwind, I think, is the best way to describe it. It's been, you know, so many ups and so many downs as well. I have learned so much. It sounds so cliched, but honestly, having so many experiences that have taught me lessons that I carry into my everyday life now.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a little baby picture of you here, diving, look at that. Going to show everyone at home. That's good. Oh, here we are, diving. Look at that.
Look at my muscles.
You were ripped. You were ripped back then. I love it. Now, I mean, when you were that young, did you ever look forward and think? I mean, you obviously love diving, but did you ever look forward at this time and say, "This is where I'm going to be"?
Yeah. Well, I must have been about 4 years old, and the 2000 Olympics were on. I sat inside in Tenerife and just watched the Olympics for 3.5 hours. My mum couldn't get me to leave.
Really?
So yeah, I know. So I always have loved diving since I was little. Water baby all my life. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's from Scotland, of course. We had Lucas in the studio earlier. We have, James Heatley was competing earlier.
Yeah.
What is it about, the water in Scotland or something that's bringing these incredible divers out of up there?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, like Scottish diving has come on massively. Like in the past 10 years, that was just me in Delhi 2010, and then we had a team of 4 just in Gold Coast in April.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to see the growth that's happened. And Scottish swimming have done a fantastic job there. I'm so proud to be Scottish.
Oh, we love that. We love a bit of national pride.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Not just Scottish swimming, but British diving as well. I was chatting to the boys earlier. They were sort of saying how exciting it is to be a part of that. You're one of the more seasoned senior. Still young,
Veteran,
of course. Still very young, veteran. She knows what I'm getting at. But lots of youngsters coming up and watching them progress through the ranks. Is that exciting for you? Do you get a buzz from that?
It's amazing. I think, like I said, there's 30 girls competing in the event today. I cannot remember the last time a British event had that many entrants. It's amazing, and to have seen the sport grow and see the talent that's coming through, and it's keeping us hot on our heels, so it's a really good thing.
Yeah. I mean, we had the final this morning as well, like you said, 30 girls. That 1 meter final, what was it like for you? A nice sort of outing? Were you happy with your dives? What are you looking at improving on?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, by no means was it perfect or my best, but I asked for consistency from myself today, and I definitely got that, and every change I planned to make, I did. So I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, but worst critic.
I mean, a lot of athletes are like this, certainly, and I'm not sure whether you are. Are you just super critical of yourself? Even when it's gone in everyone else's eyes perfect, you can find that one thing.
It's the same with everything. You're your own worst critic. And, I think in a sport like diving where, it's 10, so perfection is what we strive for, we always have things that we want to improve. And I think in a sport like diving, it does make us very much perfectionists.
Yes, of course. But it's the way you've got to be, I suppose, And you were diving in that final with obviously a synchro partner, Kat. Nice to see her get on top of the podium if it's not you.
Yeah, no, I mean, we push each other in such a positive way. She's so talented. And the fact that we make such a strong synchro pair is because both individually we're really strong divers. So, the exposure that we both had and the fact we're both improving is amazing.
It's wonderful to see. I'm loving watching it, and I know everyone else knows this as well. Now, we're going to keep you here for a little bit longer because we've got a game to play. But before we get to our game, Chris caught up with Ross and Jack Haslam the other day for their own game. It was a whole lot of fun. So let's take a look and see how the boys did.
I'm here with Jack and Ross, the synchro team and brothers, and we're going to play a game now. Guys, are you competitive?
Yep. Definitely. I'd say everything apart from not as much in diving, strangely enough. Yeah. I think if we played table tennis on holiday, then we'd be probably at each other's throats.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
well, hopefully you won't be now. Right. Okay, so you've got to face away from each other, and I'll have the questions, please. Thank you very much. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Who throws the most tantrums? Correct. Well done. Yes. That was obviously very clear. Who's the biggest mummy's boy? Correct again.
Yes.
Okay. See a theme here. This is very personal, this question. Who has the most Instagram followers? Right again. You guys are smashing this. I know the answer to this one. Who spends the most time in front of the mirror? Easy.
What? What do you mean easy?
Right, okay. Who's more likely to be late? Right again. Another personal one. Who's more ripped?
Ooh.
They're thinking.
That's a tough question.
That's a hard one.
I know what Ross is going to say, but it's a tough one. I'm going to go with what Ross is going to... No, I'm not. I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to go with what Ross is going to say, but I wouldn't necessarily...
You got it. Oh, that was very... I'm going to say what he says, but I know,
No, he's a little bit of a female about it. He's always thinking he's fat, so...
Yeah. You don't want to bring that into the synchro team relationships as well. You want to keep that sweet. So, yeah. All right, okay. Who's more likely to let off a bit of gas in the elevator? You got it right again. Most likely to sing in the shower? I know that.
Oh, easy.
That's right again. You haven't got one wrong, have you?
No, smashing it.
Who's the most lazy? Right again. Which one? This is very, very personal now. Who's most likely to win an Olympic medal? Ooh.
Don't be modest.
You got it right! You got it right! Okay, alright. Who's going to get married first? Will you get one wrong? You're too good at this. Alright, okay. And to finish up, who's better looking? This is nice, wasn't it? You put each other? You put each other? Oh, come on, guys. What the hell?
That was good though. We didn't live and train together. You'd hope we get it right, wouldn't you? That's good effort. I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, I think you did pretty well at that.
Thanks.
Well done. Hopefully you'll do as well in your competition.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Alright, good luck.
There you have it. I mean, those boys, the most adorable thing I've ever seen. But brothers, they know each other better than anyone else, I suppose. So Grace and I have decided we're going to have our own game. She's very competitive. I love doing this with athletes.
So true. I'm so sorry in advance.
No, don't be sorry. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So as you can see, we've got our leaderboard up behind you. Chris Mears, way out in front on 31. Then Maddie Lee got 30 and a half.
Pretty good.
Snuck that half in there. Tom Daly's on 30, and my miserable self is down there on 27. Aim of the game, Grace, okay? You're gonna use your thumb and your forefinger on one hand only,
Right, okay.
and you need to move as many of these ducks as possible into this in 20 seconds.
Right, can I stand?
You can get yourself
Okay,
comfortable. You get yourself, divers have their routine, our duck throwers need their routine as well, okay? So, on my count, we're gonna start this. 3, 2, 1, go! Come on, Grace, I want you to beat Chris, otherwise he is going to be gloating about this all weekend. You got this. Oh my God, I haven't been keeping count. I'll have to count them at the end. Come on. You got it, you're halfway there, keep going. Focus, focus, focus. You've got, you can handle pressure. If anyone can handle pressure, you can. That one doesn't count. Stop, stop, stop. Oh, Grace.
No, you can't take him out.
I'm not taking him out, We're going to count this because my heart rate, I really think you beat Chris. We're going to see. He's over offside camera here. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33.
I've done it.
Yes, we love that. Okay, so we're going to add this to the leaderboard. You've made my day.
I'm so happy.
So add your score there,
Okay.
34.
34.
Grace Reed, ladies and gentlemen, way out in front, We love that. We're going to put this up on the leaderboard, top of the leaderboard there so far. Can she maintain it for the rest of the weekend? Just up there, darling, yeah. Oh, here, I've got a magnet for you, Get yourself up there. Yes! We beat Chris. You've made my day. I'm so happy you did that. Right, back to the competition, of course. We do have a competition to stick to. We've got the men's 3 meter synchro coming up. So Chris caught up with Jack and Dan earlier on in the week. So let's take a look and see what they're saying heading into competition.
Right, so I'm here with Jack and Dan, the new 3 meter synchro team. So how have your preps been going into the nationals?
I think we've both been relatively injury-free, which is it's a change for me and Jack, because I think last season before we've been hindered a bit by injury, but this year we've had some really good preparation. Obviously it's a new partnership, so I know we both had to work really hard and adjust for each other, but I feel like the preparation's been really good.
What I want to know is about the dive list. So I know that you guys have got a different dive list, obviously what we used to use. What dives are out and what's in?
Well, all changed up really. We're doing back and reverse 3.5 now, which we obviously never really did apart from Europeans at one time when it went horribly wrong.
That wasn't good.
We're still doing front 4.5 and we're doing double out, but our hopes are, well, the original hopes were to do it with 3.5 pike together. We've both been training it this year. We wanted to be the first team to ever do it, but it's just such a difficult dive and it's so much to fit in obviously such a small 3 meters, that's all you got to do on the world's hardest dive. So it was kind of difficult, but we're putting that on the back burner for right now. Dan's learned triple out. and it's looking pretty damn good. It's just about him doing it more times, hopefully individually, to settle on it, and then we'll hopefully put it in the list as well. So hopefully the final thing will be reverse 3.5, triple out, front 4.5, back 3.5, 3.5, 3.9, 3.8, 3.6.
And then my question is, what the hell did you start on?
Yeah.
What have you started on?
Reverse 3.5.
Yeah, I think we'll have to open with reverse 3.5.
We're starting with double out here, double out, reverse, front, and then back. Similar order to what we do in our individual lists. But again, we're just going to have to go through our individual list order when we do the big dives, really. And that will be the hardest list in the world. So, and it also plays to mine and Dan's strengths. We're not really front and inward spinners.
Definitely not.
We're back and reverse. So it plays to our strengths, really. And we can do 2 standing required dives as well, which is nice.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. But also, I think what's good about that list is, like, it seems like you've got a lot of options. Like, if one dive, say, goes wrong and like, oh, we're not feeling that, you can always throw a double out in there for a bit if you needed to, or you can swap something out. That's really
I think it's good because we've been training all of our optionals because we've got the same individual list, obviously. We train that not alongside each other when we're training in leads, and then if one dive's not going so well, and maybe we start doing triple out, but it's not going to, we can top it with an inward 3.5. So I think because we've got that variety, it plays to our strengths.
So first time out competing together now. How are you feeling about that?
Good. I just want to do the goals that I set for this nationals for me and Dan, were to just do 6 dives together. It's our first ever time out, and I'm not expecting us to go and change the world, but some of the dives we've been doing are amazing. When we both put our dives down next to each other, it's great. But for us, it's just about doing 6 dives and learning how each other function. For me and you, it took us 2 or 3 years
a long time to get
understand
into that.
how it all works. And unfortunately, we don't have that time before Tokyo, so we're going to have to be quick learners. But we're both obviously really experienced, and I'm hoping that the stuff that I've learned from our partnership will help us with me and Dan, and all the stuff already is. So it's looking really good, and if we can just do a decent performance, don't really care how we do, just something that we're happy with, then I'm okay.
Yeah, I think it's just about going out and seeing how we work together as a pair in competition. I mean, this is the first time I've done 10m Synchro in a long time. And to be put next to someone like Jack, it's going to be nice to be able to learn some things probably from him in competition as well. I think we didn't really set ourselves any goals, just to go out there and get some experience together.
That sounds like an exciting first step. So good luck for the comp. Hope you guys well.
So there you have it, very exciting things to come in the men's 3m synchro final. Lots to look forward to. Of course, Jack and Dan, one of our partnerships. Being joined by Chris, bit of a change up here. You were Jack's old partner, now it's Dan, new partnership. How are the boys looking heading into this?
I've been watching their training, it looks really, really good. They're both really strong. I think they are in that part of the season where they're carrying injuries, but the tower, if they're going to be performing today, is up there. And one of the dives, they're going to be using double out. They're going to swap that out maybe later on in the year to do triple out, and then they will have the hardest list in the world if they manage to pull this off.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see how they do today, and they're going to really want to get into the competition and get into the kind of the logistics of the partnership, because that's what me and Jack worked on for years, and it does take quite a long time to build that platform. But we'll see how they go.
Because it's sort of that thing that you both work in synchro pairs, getting to know the other person, getting to know like their sort of little, nuances and things, and how you read each other on that board. Is that super important?
Yeah, massively. I think speaking from a synchro pair, like you have to know your partner off the board, what ticks them off, what helps them. It's not actually what happens on the day. You can both dive, but all the little things that happen off stage, they're really important.
And time, big thing, big key factor in that.
Massively, yeah. I think as well with Jack and Dan, like they're so new, and I think there's a lot of pressure on them. Obviously, they've both had so much success in different aspects. So to put them together, they're such a formidable force. But I'm really excited to see them together.
Formidable force.
I know,
I like it.
Alliteration and everything.
Good.
There's
yeah,
a
I'm
hashtag
excited.
right there. We love it.
Leave me alone.
Now that's Jack and Dan, of course. Moving on, another great partnership. I've been watching them in training. Brothers, the Haslam boys.
Yeah,
they're looking good.
They are. I know that Jack's been saying that he's carrying a few injuries and stuff, and this is, to be honest, this is nothing new for any of us. We all come into these events and we're always carrying injuries, and it's just how you're managing that. He seems to be doing well. Obviously, been watching his training and stuff. They both look strong. Ross in the 1 meter, obviously, he killed that.
Absolutely.
And they've always been a strong team. They've always been there. So let's just see what they can do today.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on them, Grace? Have you managed to see any of their dives this weekend before we've come into comp?
Yeah, I think, like Jack and Ross, they've got a really special connection, obviously being brothers. They've got more exposure than a couple of the other teams, so they've got a bit of experience to draw upon. I think it's just going to be survival of the fittest today. I think it's going to be a good one.
You're full of it today. Look, where does that come
really
from?
Philosophical. I'm feeling really good.
Like gladiators.
I'm ready.
And finally, before we head into competition, interesting pairing. We've got Yona and James.
Yeah, no, I think this is really interesting. Yona is one of my closest friends in diving, and so is James, to be fair. But I was talking to Yona recently, a couple of months ago, and he sent me a couple of videos like, oh, I'm doing this for a laugh. And I was like, mate, that's actually really good. And they were like, oh, yeah. And then like 2 days later, he was like, oh, yeah, like I've had a word with James. We're going to do we're going to do the nationals. I was like, yeah, go for it. And I think, you know, let's just see how they go today. Obviously, a new team. I don't think they're expecting too much. It's a little bit of fun, but also it's another competition under their belt.
But individually, both such strong divers, you know, so they might be able to pull off something magical, right?
Yeah, and I think as well, the fact that they're going in for it, a bit of fun, actually takes a lot of the pressure off. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if the pair of them came out all guns blazing. They've got no pressure and they've got a great opportunity as well.
I kind of love that, you know, you never know. I suppose with a big competition like this, a big meet, you don't know how pressure's going to affect the diver. What you do in training doesn't really matter, it's what you do on the day, right?
100%.
Yeah, I think we can both relate to that. Where I remember like we've obviously done so many competitions together, and like we both do springboard, so we'll both be there and like, oh mate, it's really not happening today. So don't worry, you'll be alright. And then like you could have the best training and have the worst competition, or vice versa. You know, you can have the worst training and have the best competition ever.
All right, well look, thank you so much guys. Chris, you've got to get up into commentary.
Yeah.
The competition's about to start. Grace, good luck with the rest of the competition. And it's over to Bob Ballard, ladies and gentlemen, in commentary. Let's kick off our final fight of the night, the men's 3-meter synchro. See you later.
Thank you, John. Well, you've seen all the pairs go through your picture there. Cameron Gamage and Leon Baker will be first up for Southampton. The Lee boys, Mark Lee and Timothy Lee from Singapore, followed by James Heatley and Yona Knight Wisdom, as you heard Chris mention, and we'll talk about when he joins me in commentary. A very, very new pairing, so we're not quite sure what to expect from them. Then the Haslam boys, Jack and Ross, Anthony Harding of Leeds, Jordan Holden of City of Sheffield, and then two of our Olympic medalists from Rio. Dan Goodfellow, of course, from the 10-meter with Tom Daly. Jack Law with Chris in the 3-meter for gold. So the most experience in terms of high-pressure competition, but could it be the Haslam boys or could it be the surprise pairing of Heatley and Knight Wisdom? We will find out. Usual rules apply, and if you are fairly new to this, I'd like to go through it for new viewers and listeners. 6 rounds as opposed to 5 in the women's. The first 2 rounds, exactly the same as the women's, will be the required dives. There's quite a different variety of required dives, but they're only worth 2.0, so even if you do a higher tariff dive for your 1 and 2, they're only worth 2 regardless. Then you get the choices of the dives, the ones the divers actually select. When we get to the big names, the Goodfellows and Laws and people like that, they'll be doing 3.4, 3.5. Watch out, only 2 of the pairings are doing the forward 4.5, which is fairly rudimentary these days in terms of international competition. Everybody does it. In fact, I don't really know of a top pairing who doesn't do it these days. But they're trying to add a few little extra nuances into their program. But watch out for the old forward 4.5. It, as Chris will no doubt attest to as he joins me, the forward 4.5 has become kind of the bread and butter dive of 3-meter synchro. But when it goes wrong, it goes spectacularly wrong.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Hello.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's always kind of been seen for a number of years as make or break dive, and actually now it's pretty much in everybody's list. Like if you don't have the 4.5, it's almost like you can't compete for the top end of the spectrum of diving on men's 3-meter synchro. So yeah, but when it goes wrong, boy does it go wrong, and it hurts as well. It hurts the back of the neck, and it's not good when you get a bad takeoff. Hopefully no one gets a bad takeoff today and we see some good dives. I really want to see these guys push the boundaries today.
Do you know what? I think, obviously we talk about divers getting injuries because of the force and the strenuous nature of what you do to put your body through it. But do you know, I think the forward 4.5 is probably responsible for more people getting bad shoulders and bad backs in 3-meter.
It is. To be honest, all of the men's 3-meter dives, you know, including the kind of reverse 3.5, back 3.5, they're bad for backs as well. But the front 4.5, just it takes so much force.
Right, we're underway with Cameron Gamage and Leon Baker. Forward 1.5 somersaults for the Southampton pair.
Yeah, steady opener for the boys. The synchro was good. Obviously, we're in the easier round of dives, the 2.0 degree of difficulty rounds, first two. Steady, not the entries they will have wanted. The synchro was okay though, but only 41.4 for them.
Well, as I mentioned it in the women's earlier, and I will mention it for the men too. I think the Haslam boys, Heatley and Knight Wisdom probably, Harding and Holden, and definitely Goodfellow-in-Law will be looking for 50 plus on these 2.0s.
Yeah, no, it's really important, these required dives, because they pretty much shape the start of your competition. If you have a bad first two rounds, it leaves you in bad stead on the optional rounds for the contention for the medals.
Back dive for the Lee boys.
This is Tim Lee and Mark Lee, and coach Pung Lee, all the Lees. Great dive from the boys. These boys have got quite a lot of experience at a world level. Competing for Singapore, I've competed against them many a time. And 46.8 for them. So steady back dive, but again, like we said, the 50s is probably where you want to be at on the required rounds in the men's 3-meter synchro.
Okay, our first glimpse. We haven't seen these two dive together before. So our first look, I think you've seen some of the training they've done, but in terms of...
I've seen bits, and I'm good friends with both of them, and Yona sent me some videos over WhatsApp that looks really good.
The good thing is with the 3-meter board, he can't put it in the water. I'm sure you'll try.
Yona's biggest problem.
Back dive, yeah, as we saw earlier on. Heatley and Knight Wisdom.
No, it's phenomenal how good their timing is on a back dive like that, because they're both different weights, different heights, different builds, and 46.8, and that's matched the Lee brothers from Singapore. Again, it's not the best they can do, but it's steady.
Well, he must be on a high, mustn't he, for what happened earlier in the 1 meter. Our champion on the 1 meter board joins his brother. Chuck is 2 years older than Ross. Forward 1.5 for the Haslam boys. Should be the lead if they do it anywhere near their normal capability. Which they have.
Yeah, it looks like Ross has carried that confidence that he had in the 1 meter into the springboard event. Brought his brother alongside him. 48 points, so that's the highest we've seen so far. Not quite in the 50s, but it was a very nice dive and almost identical.
See too much wrong with that, I've got to say.
Yeah, I thought, wasn't going to say it, but I thought that was worth more. I think on a world stage, that would have probably gone about 51, 52. It was really nice dive.
So the lead Sheffield combo of Anthony Harding and Jordan Holden, they're only separated by 30 miles, unlike the Edinburgh-London pair we saw in the women's, 350 miles. Back 1.5 somersaults, half a twist. Seems quite complicated for 2.0, doesn't it?
Yeah, to use the back half, they've done it pretty well there, but that is quite hard to get in sync. Me and Jack have done it a number of times, and I'm not good at the dive, I'll be honest, and it never went well.
So you dropped it?
Yeah, pretty much. That went straight out of the repertoire, straight away. But 45.6 for the boys.
Also, we don't have long between dives, but making that adjustment from the 10 meter to the 3, because very few people these days do 3 and 10. In the old days, Demetrius Altin would do 3 and he'd do 10. Very few people do 3 and 10 these days.
It is pretty rare. I think Dan has now pretty much made a full move down onto the springboard. And I think that's probably quite wise, because springboard, it takes up so much of your time to learn that craft, to learn the board, especially if you're diving next to Jack.
There's the inward
so
dive.
Nice inward dive there. I think Dan was slightly closer to the board than Jack, if I'm at the right angle. Good dive, nice entries, 48.6. Again, the scores are a little bit low. I kind of mentioned this in some of the other events. The judges here seem to be pretty harsh on our guys, and that's almost a good thing in some aspects, because when you then go to a Worlds or a Europeans or a World Series, then you're kind of happy with the scores that you get given. You're like, oh, okay, these guys feel like they're on my side.
All British judges, apart from one from Spain, one from the Netherlands. As we move on to the start again for round 2. Back dive for Cameron Gamage, 16 years of age from Southampton, and a 13-year-old Leon Baker.
It's a nice dive from the boys. They're both pretty young. Again, Cameron we saw in the 1 meter, and we saw Leon there too. Cameron in the final. It's a good back dive, but it's not going to change the world. It's a good start for them.
Does Cameron ever smile?
I think Cameron seems to be quite a serious character in this competition, doesn't he? Stern-faced, to say the least.
I think he's just taking in what Lindsay's telling him, so he probably doesn't want to smile.
He's still processing.
Yeah. Here come Mark Lee and Timothy Lee of Singapore, starting with a 46 on their back dive. Reverse dive coming up now. There's a lot of strapping there, isn't there?
A lot, yeah. It looks like they're both carrying injuries. I mean, it's pretty normal to be carrying injuries as a diver, as anyone in sport, really. We know the struggles. Average dive for them, 42, is going to be considered as a drop, a second round drop there from the Lee brothers from Singapore.
Yeah, especially on a 2.0. Can kind of give them a bit more leeway on a 3 or a 3.1,
Yeah.
but 2, not really.
Finding it hard to not cheer.
Just turn your mic off there.
Yeah.
So James Heatley, Yona Knight Wisdom. New Edinburgh pairing on the 3 meter board with a reverse dive.
It's really nice. Like, do you know what? I'm really impressed. The required dives, both completely different builds and weights and what have you, and that's a really hard thing to get right in the synchro team. If you watch closely on their hurdle step, maybe in rounds to come in the future, you'll see they actually start at different times in the hurdle steps, but somehow it ends up in time. That's really hard to get in time.
I'm trying to work out what happens if they win, because one represents British club and one represents his country. It's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think just give one of them a medal.
They're seen as a guest team, by the way.
Yeah.
So Scotland's obviously not part of the UK anymore. Whoop, careful. On to Haslam boys. After a 48 start, here comes their back dive before they get into the real meat and two veg.
Good execution. Jack a little bit more splashy than Ross. Ross took all the water down with him. Really nice dive. You see there, that was perfect. That was a 9.
Well, Jack was out a bit earlier, wasn't he? Slightly earlier.
Slightly earlier. 47.4. Slowly going up in the scores.
So they're really being put through the mill here.
Yeah.
Marks-wise. So on to Harding and Houlding. Sounds like something you might buy from a department store.
Or solicitors.
Yes. Ink. Back dive for them. So one more dive from Goodfellow and Law, and we'll get into the threes.
Really nice dive. I've always loved the way Anthony does his back dive. When we used to train together, it used to really annoy me how well he takes down the water. They've not really gone with them on the back dive, just because there was a discrepancy in the timing. 46.2. Again, it's all quite low scoring so far.
Nobody's hit 50 yet. I didn't
No
say 50
one's
was
hit that
the
magic
marker.
50. Let's see if Dan and Jack can hit that 50 mark on the back dive. The synchro was good, the entries were good. Looked like Dan kind of held in his pike a little bit longer than Jack. Jack likes to snap out of it quite quickly. But overall, it was a really good dive. The synchro, I see someone gone with a 9 there. 8.5, 9. 47.4.
Still didn't get my 50 from any of them.
Not 50.
Out of 12 dives, you can get a 50 there.
Yeah.
Somewhat surprising. But we'll move on. The Gamage and Baker combination don't go for the threes until round 5. Everybody else will move into 3 territory next. So it's a back 2.5 somersaults. Free position, I think, for this one. Yeah, no, it's not. It's the Pike position 2.8.
And Cameron closer to the board than Leon there. I wouldn't say it was too close. I'd say Leon was very far back there.
They landed in different postcodes.
They did, yeah. One landed in Plymouth and one landed in Exeter.
Yeah, not quite what they were looking for there. 48.72. Just a bit more, it's a little bit too much more effort off the board. Clear. Now, the lead boys didn't have a very good second round dive. The reverse dive didn't give them quite what they were looking for. Into the bigger dives now. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist.
That was a good display of power, but on the entries, it just wasn't quite cutting it. Bit sloppy, some bent legs as well. Form was a little bit unconvincing, to be honest. And then we got 63, 5.5s in there, 6.5.
Well, on that evidence, not going to be pushing for a top 3 place, but what else does when they get into their bigger dives, which start now for Heatley and Night Wisdom. Yona now 23, James 21. Comes the forward 3.5. Of course, got the forward 4.5, but they don't do it.
There's that strange hurdle step timing, but it ends up in time somehow. It's a great dive. Yes. They both put it down. Slightly different in the way they execute the dive. Yona likes to come out earlier and drops his feet almost a little bit and slingshots round for the entry. James likes to cruise round onto his entry. So a little bit different there, which is why he's seeing some different synchronization scores.
69.75, which make the highest mark we've seen so far. Will be because we're into the 3s now. Yeah, Haslam boys, their big dive, we'll have 2 of them, round 4 and 6. He comes in with 2.5. We'll get a nice distance away from the board. See the way they set up for this, one with the feet pretty much together and the other with the legs wide apart.
I noticed that in the 1 meter, but I didn't say anything. I've never seen Ross do that before. Must be a new thing. And it's a good dive from the boys. Ross a little bit short there. Timing was slightly out. I don't know, it didn't look quite right. But 68, it's not a bad dive. Just not as convincing, not as measured as they normally look.
Well, it's just interesting with the setup there. I noticed it in the last dive as well. I'm not quite sure why the two have their leg position so different, but
yeah, I mean, it's quite unusual to have the legs so far apart. I'm going to ask Ross after this now. I'll fill you guys in later.
Anthony Harding, Jordan Holden with the forward 3.5, same dive.
Anthony there, really good hurdle step, but unfortunately you can see dropped all of his weight forwards, so he pushes it out further than Jordan. Which is a shame, really, because if they'd have been in line, that would have scored more than 66.96. That probably would have gone over 70.
Same dive as the Heatley and Night Wisdom combination, not the same as Haslam's, but slightly down on their score, 66.96. Now, this is where the tower starts to go stratospheric.
We got a 3-4.
3-4, 3-5, 3-8.
3-6.
Our old favourite, the forward 4.5. And they finish on 3-6. So, first of the really big dives, highest tariff by quite some way of all the combinations. Forward 2.5 with 2 twists for Goodfellow and Law.
Oh, they're both really, really strong dives. You can see slightly different timing there because Jack just waits for the board for so long. It's agonizing trying to dive next to him because he's so strong and he propels himself so high into the air. And then coming off the twist, it's just so hard to keep up with him. And you can see there, Dan just slightly lower.
Interesting to see how much the judges penalised them for that, because I thought they were obviously out of time mid-air. But anyway, 72.42 puts them in the lead by 5. Heatley and Night Wisdom in 3rd place, and Harding and Holden holding on in 4th. But obviously we're only halfway and nothing's separated them really yet. Round 4 of 6. And so we don't see the threes from Gamage and Baker to round 5. So we'll continue on their 2.8 course. Maybe we'll get a smile from Cameron. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. Depends on the outcome of this, I suppose.
Oh, they'll be really happy with that. And Cameron absolutely nailed it through the water. Synchro was great. Watch that. Really good. The kick out. Leon wasn't quite as sharp as Cameron, but both pretty decent dives. Now Cameron should smile after that. We'll see. I don't think so.
Don't think so.
He's in competition mode.
So onto the lees from Singapore. And they're inward 3.5. They don't go any higher than 3.1. That comes next. This is their second 3.0, and they finish on 3.0 as well. So it's the inward 2.5 for the Singapore boys.
Now you see on the far side there, just over-rotating, came not close to the board, but kind of cut the height off and just washed it over there. Shame. 4.5, 5 is not really what you want, you know, in a world level. These guys perform on a world level, on a world stage quite a lot. That's a drop for them.
So James and Yona looking for their first 70 score. Should come, could come with this. Inward 3.5 somersaults. They finish with 3.4, 3.4, and 3.5. So a very relatively new pairing for these two, so still work in progress.
James cut the height off the dive a little bit, and Yona kind of went quite substantially higher, and then Yona span slow and James span fast, so it was quite out in the synchro, unfortunately. They didn't
aware
nail it
are you
home.
of your, because you obviously contrary what you're trying to do, how aware are you once you've left the, when you've left the board, about what your partner's doing? Do you see out of the corner of your eye, or are you just concentrating on what you're doing?
With Jack, for me, it was so easy because we were so in time on most of our dives that it was quite simple. It didn't really feel like he was there. But when it goes
these boys
wrong,
just have intuition because they're brothers, aren't they?
yeah, and they do mirror each other quite often.
Ooh,
and not
dear.
that dive,
No,
unfortunately.
not on that one.
Jack pushed it forwards. He didn't actually. Ross pushed it forwards.
Went
Jack
splat.
shouldered it and came out early, threw his head back, and then didn't know where he was in the air. It's quite a common thing to do on the reverse 3.5. It's a hard dive, and if you don't get the start right, it's almost impossible to get the dive right and to know where you are, unless you're Jack Law, and then it's easy.
They both had quite puzzled looks on their face when they came out going, well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Harding and Holden got a chance here to move up because they've got a 3.4, they've got 3.8 right at the end. They go for their big dive to finish. Inward 3.5. The door is ajar now for second place. They take it.
Good dive from the boys. Good dive from the boys. Jordan's really come on leaps and bounds since I last saw him dive. He looks really measured. Like that dive, he piked out really convincingly. It was really nice. And Anthony there, lovely dive. And they have gone into first place.
Yeah. So
2, 3, 4.
Yeah. So they, in effect, they probably have gone into second, but also we'll wait and see
You've
what.
got the boys to come. Reverse 3.5.
And Jack do. But Harding and Holden, Leeds and Sheffield combination, moved up into second after that, in effect, drop dive by the Haslams. Reverse 3.5 for Goodfellow and Law.
Now you see there, that was a great recovery from Dan. He almost hit the board. As you see, the big flail there in the air and then pulled his shoulder into the entry. I don't know what the judges are going to do there. Don't know what they're going to do.
The way his arms go. I thought he was going to actually stop.
I thought he was going to stop. He didn't. Fair play to him. He took off and he went for it, but he was very close to the diving board.
Well, 68.25 keeps him in the lead, but see, When you see divers do that, as you've seen many times, when they do that, they normally abort because they're going, right, I've not got my balance here, I can't do anything. But
yeah,
he went through with it somehow.
He did. He went through with it, and they got the points, and that's a good effort.
It is. If they win that, that will be the save of the weekend, I think, actually. Right. Cambridge and Baker have moved into the realms of the threes now. Inward 2.5, followed by forward 2.5.
Really nice dive from the boys. I'm surprised they're using their inward 2.5 pike and performing it that good with that much power. Unfortunately, one was over and one was short, so they will get really penalised for that. But good strength.
46.8 is not their biggest score by any means, but third highest of the 5 so far. Well, with the exception maybe the third round dive, not quite worked out for the Lees yet. This is their highest tariff dive, 3.1, forward 3.5. See 2 forward 4s very soon.
Oh, that all looks a bit rushed there, especially on the far side. And didn't really get into the pike shape well enough with the head up to know where he was, and then washed it completely over on his back. And his teammate did an average dive. So not a great score there for the boys.
That hurts in more way than one. This hurts on the scoreboard. Probably hurts his back as well, the way he landed.
Looked like it.
So Heatley and Night Wisdom, third place, but still quite tight between the top 4. There's still 2 more rounds and 2 big dives to come. 3.4, forward 2.5, 2 twists. A lot involved in this.
And it works, but I really don't get that hurdle step. It's crazy. They come down almost at different times, push different amounts, and then they land at the same time. It's, you know, at what part does it come together?
That's a bit like the mixed
just as they
synchro,
take off, it's crazy. But it works somehow.
That strange mixed synchro where people go in the opposite direction. It's
yeah,
kind of weird. 68.34 for Heatley and Night Wisdom. Okay, let's see if the Haslams have got that last dive out of their system, because that was quite a surprise. 3.4, forward 2.5, 2 twists, same dive we've just seen. How will they execute it?
Oh, Ross was right on the corner of the board, and then he missed his hands going through the water. He's going to be really annoyed at himself for that. He kind of covered it up because he was next to Jack, and Jack did a pretty good dive.
The judges haven't noticed.
They didn't really notice. They penalised a bit with the 5.5, 5.5, but he really missed his hands. He literally went through and head-butted the water as he went through there.
The things that other divers notice in competition that the judges sometimes don't. Now, Harding and Holden not too far behind Goodfellow-in-Law here. They've got 2 massive dives to come. Reverse 3.5 first off.
Oh,
what a shame.
Dear.
What a shame.
Anthony was slow pickup on the start, didn't really get into a good shape. And Jordan just pushed it out and just tried to muscle it round. And on a reverse 3.5, it's all about technique. You can't muscle that dive round when you get a bad hurdle step. And that's why that went wrong.
Sandy, the first banana man of the day. Now Goodfellow-in-Law. Been waiting all day for this. My favourite dive.
They're both good at this dive.
Forward 4.5.
See if they can do it together.
Yeah. See, Dan's done this on the 10-metre board with Tom.
That's a good dive.
That's
a good dive.
Slightly different times than they.
Slightly different times, and Dan was a bit far off the end. Again, a discrepancy in the height, but 84.36. That's a good score for a 4.5, especially first time out, not competed together before. I think they'll be really happy to bank that one.
Well, there's so much could go wrong, as we said at the beginning of the commentary, that if that goes wrong, it can go disastrously wrong. If it's only slightly out on the entry, that's not a bad result, is it?
Not at all. And Dan's got, although he hasn't competed the 4.5 and 3 meter a lot, he's got a lot of experience of doing it on the platform.
Quite a gap now. Open up between 1 and 2.
They're pulling away.
It's going to take a lot to pull that back in, isn't it? Especially when they got 3.6. Heatley and Night Wisdom got 3.5, so they've got a 0.1 differential anyway on that. But must be really quite weird for you watching your partner diving with somebody else, the person you've been with for so many years.
Yeah, no, it is. It is quite strange, but it's good. It's also quite good to watch in a way as well. Like watching, I haven't seen diving for 5 months, and to see the power that goes into this and the strength that these guys have got is actually incredible.
That's Cabbage and Baker finishing off with their forward 2.5 with 1 twist.
Pretty good dive there from the boys. Leon flattening his feet as he goes in through the water, and slightly piked as well. That's where the 5.5s are coming from. Cameron again has had a pretty solid meet. Not bad.
I'd like to see a smile from him, but no,
I would too.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him on set later on. Get him a smile. So Mark Lee, Timothy Lee, not men their day. From say 1 decent forward 2.5. Everything else has been very substandard by their standards. So back 2.5 to finish.
That's not bad from the boy. That's not bad from them. They'll be happy with that. They performed pretty good synchro. They could have got into much better pike shapes. The feet were a little bit flat. It's lacking a bit of finesse there. Entry is a little bit heavy, but they both landed there or thereabouts.
3:14.43 is the final score for the Singapore divers. Now, be a great result if these two could get a top 2 finish. Unlikely you're going to win it because Goodfellow-in-Law have quite a big lead, but I'll say for, I won't say makeshift pegs, obviously they're a pair that's going to hopefully aim to be the Olympics next year, but of course they can't be because one's Jamaican and one's British, but you know what I mean. Healy and Night Wisdom. Oh dear.
Oh, I'm glad he stopped there.
That's a shame.
That was close. If he'd have tried to take off there, he would have been straight into Yona's lap. And
you're right, absolutely.
That would not have been good.
Dear.
So I'm pretty happy for them boys. They decided to bail out of that one. Yona did a good dive. Yona still came through and did a good dive. Unfortunately, James just didn't get the right hurdle step on that.
I was trying to work out whether James was going to go, well, let's go back and retry that. But by that time,
it's all done as soon as he's taken off. It's a fail.
See you, wasn't it?
Yeah. They won't be too disappointed.
Right, gives a Haslam boys a chance to at least close the gap a bit on Goodfellow-in-Law, but
doing the same dive as we've just seen as well.
Absolutely.
That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Really nice from both of them. Their twist timing, look at that technique. They're both really similar in the way they do that dive. Almost 80 points. Just a little bit, they just clean up them little fine-tuning little bits like the entry and just the T-arms on the come out. Then that's where you get into your 80s on that dive.
364.44 is what we're looking at here. Right, only 2 sets are doing this. We've seen Dan and Jack do it for 84.36. Now, the 18-year-old and 20-year-old from Leeds and Sheffield, respectively, with the forward 4.5. Good luck, boys. Oh, what?
Really good.
What?
Really good. Tony going a little bit over, but the timing was there. Jordan did a really good dive there. He really pulled that out of the bag. Surprising, 83.22. They're happy with that. Did a little fist bump there.
Yeah, not going to overtake the Haslam boys, but that was a terrific way to finish. 83.22, wasn't that much shy of the 84.36 from Goodfellow-in-Law. So 3.6, nail this. They're the winners.
Not an easy dive. 3.6. Jack is an absolute veteran at this dive. Dan has also banked a number of good ones. Let's see if they can do it together.
Back 3.5 somersaults for the main prize.
Oh, it's good. It's a good dive. Dan just a little bit short of vertical. Jack pretty much took it home. Again, a little bit short as well. Not a bad dive, but again, not in the upper leagues there. But you know, it is their first time out, and I think they'll know now. They've set the benchmark down. They know what they need to improve on. They know it can be better, and they know what went well as well. So I think it's a really good competition for them.
Still won by 23.5 points in the end from the Haslam boys. And Harding and Holden are going to be in 3rd place. That's a very good result for them, but not quite the 400 for Goodfellow-in-Law, but it was some very tight and quite tough judging today.
Yeah, no, there definitely was. The judges here tend to be quite tight, and that sometimes it makes it hard to get into the competition when you know that you can't almost get the scores you want. But it was a good event. It was fun to watch. Unfortunately for James Heatley and Yona Knight Wisdom ending up at the bottom of the pile there with that failed dive.
Yeah, it was nearly quite a spectacular failed dive, as you mentioned. It was almost like James running into Yona on the 3-meter board there.
Yeah, no, it was a close call.
That would be one of the sporting bloopers of all time.
Definitely would have done, yeah.
So 23 points, over 23 points to win for Goodfellow-in-Law, Haslam and Haslam in 2nd place, and then about 17 points between the Haslam boys, Harding and Hull. That's a very good result for them. Very good result. 347.91. I'd imagine that's pretty close to their best, actually. I'm a bit all surprised that's not the best score they've had. And Lee and Lee, 314. Average and Bacon, to say Heatley and Knight Wisdom. We were in 2nd place, pushing Goodfellow-in-Law, but yeah, that's what can happen. And fortunately, that failed dive in round 6 doing for them, and they had 3 good dives in a row, 69, 64, 68, and we're kind of getting a bit of a head of steam up then.
Yeah.
We will hear from Jack and Dan very shortly, not with us yet. They're probably doing their makeup for television. I think. In fact, they're having a bit of a chat with the they're just having a little debrief with the coaches at the moment, so that's what we can't tell you. So I'll tell you what, while we'll just do a little bit of padding while we're doing that. Just to remind you, we have 2 more days of competition to come. Tomorrow we'll start with the individual 3-meter prelim. The women's platform will be up on Saturday morning. That's at 10 o'clock we start on Saturday. 2:30 men's 3-meter final, followed by the women's platform final. And the men's 10-meter synchro, followed by the women's 3-meter synchro, which will start at 6:45. That's the program for Saturday, and then we have obviously 2 sessions on Sunday as well. And the 3-meter prelim for women, followed by the men's platform. Tom Daly, of course, back in the British regime again. Women's 3-meter final and the men's platform final. And that will be session number 3. Right, we have the winners of the. We have the runners-up. Sorry, we have the runners-up of the 3-meter synchro. Jack Haslam and Ross Haslam are with John.
That concludes the action of day 1, ladies and gentlemen. I'm being joined by our runners-up of the men's 3-meter synchro. Guys, nice way to finish your night. A silver medal.
Not too bad.
How was it for you out there tonight?
I'd say it was a bit mixed. We've added a new dive in this season, which is the reverse 3.5, which didn't go as well as we'd have liked, but the first time using it is obviously always going to be a bit of a different experience. It's quite a big jump up in DD from what we were doing last year. So, yeah, that was a good takeaway from it, but also we would have liked to have scored a little bit higher, I think.
I mean, it's one of those things, though, isn't it, when you do sort of branch out and try new dives and stuff, it's one of those things that's just going to take time, isn't it, to gel together?
I think, especially as well, because it's our second optional of the programme, so it does kind of change the dynamic of the competition as well. So even doing that, it kind of then throws you off for your 3rd op, and then you're like, oh God, right, got to contain myself a bit. So I think after that, we did do a better job of, just calming back down, going in for the next 2. So, I mean, yeah, we would have liked more, but also happy with.
I was talking to Grace earlier, and she said divers are never happy. She was like, always so hard on ourselves. But you guys, obviously brothers, know each other well and compete together. Is there sort of that extra added pressure there? Because you can say things to your brother you can't say to a friend, surely.
I mean, that's a good thing because we can just literally say, you know, if I'm getting annoyed at him or he's getting annoyed at me, it's like straight up say it. Whereas if other people kind of getting annoyed, then it's probably a bit like more like, oh, shall I, shan't I? But
you can get rid of a friend, you can't get rid of a brother.
I'd say it's definitely more pressure. I think we both want to do really well for each other. And also because we know that doing well could mean selections or you know things like that, selections, medals and everything else beyond that. So we want to do well for each other, for the family and everything.
For that, I mean, it's a big year as well. There's some big competitions coming up. So moving forward from this, I mean, still got this weekend to get through, but looking ahead at 2019, sort of what's happening with you guys? What are we hoping for?
There's a few Grand Prix up for grabs.
Yep.
There's a few World Series spots up for grabs.
London as well.
Yes, and then there's also Europeans right at the end of the year in August. So fingers crossed. There's another nationals before that as well. So you know we got to keep going, keep plodding on. But that would be the aim.
We've both added a few, trying to increase our degree of difficulty in diving a little bit. So we both added a few dives in, and I think it's fair to say that both of us are probably better divers than we ever have been at this point.
Definitely.
So it's just kind of like trying to show that and trying to keep progressing in the scores as well as everything.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's about keeping the scores level whilst you increase DD, and then the scores go up, hopefully.
Definitely.
Rather than going up and down every time. So.
That sort of consistency, because I mean, you obviously have that new diving and stuff. You guys have done it a lot before and done it perfectly a lot before, but it's just making sure it comes together on the day. Yeah.
That's diving, really. It's just on the day.
Exactly. It is what it is. And I mean, you guys, obviously competed here this weekend. You've got a lot more. The competition is going on over the next couple of days. What are you excited of seeing to watch? What are you looking forward to seeing most of all that you are not in?
I think men's 10-meter platform is always exciting, but in particular, there's a lot of people that could be medal contenders and things like that. So it's always nice to see a little fight out for the medals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're both male competitors, so you kind of focus more on the male events. So in terms of both 3-meter and 10-meter, there's Britain's in the best position it ever has been in terms of how many divers can go to competitions and get medals internationally. So it's going to be a real fight. Like tomorrow there's 30 people in our prelim, so it's going to be a lot. Is it more? 33?
Something like that, yeah.
So it's going to be a long competition. It's going to be tough to make the final, and then in the final anyone in there is capable of getting a medal. So it is going to be interesting.
But it makes for an interesting competition.
Yeah, exactly the same with the girls as well. You know, there's a few people that could be pushing for medals here, but could also be pushing for medals at Europeans. So
we saw it today already. It came down to the last dive in almost every competition. Every event.
Like I say, British diving is a great place. There's lots of males, females, everyone pushing for those medals, and they can hopefully do it internationally as well.
Absolutely. But look, thanks so much, guys. Congratulations on your silver. And you having a win earlier today.
Thank you.
Love that. Congratulations, guys. That's the boys. That's the Haslam boys. We're now going to bring in. Come on, out your hop. I'll hold those for you. Thanks, guys. Now we've got our winners. It's Jack Law and Dan Goodfellow. Champions. There you go, mate. Congratulations. There you go, Jack. Thanks for coming down, mate. Guys, champions, gold medal. Nice way to finish off the first day of competition. How was that for you guys? First competition out as a pairing?
I think our first competition was just about doing it really.
Yeah.
I've not been on the springboard long, and when I get put next to someone like Jack, I think the first competition is just about going out and getting some experience. In terms of our individual dives, they were really good. I don't think we have any worries in terms of our individual ability. The synchro needs a bit of work, but it's come along really well in the last 2 months. It's a shame I don't think we displayed it as much as we wanted to. But looking forward to the World Series that we're going to be competing at. More training and more experience on the springboard for me. Really, that's all I need.
I mean, you guys have had huge success individually with Tom and with Chris, and individually yourself, Jack. Coming together now as a new partnership, obviously a lot of eyes are on you guys and stuff. How do you manage that sort of pressure coming into competitions?
Of course, it's very difficult, especially because Dan has been known globally and in Britain for being a 10-meter diver alongside Tom, and obviously I've been known for doing my 3-meter and stuff like that. So Dan's had to come down, and he's had to come alongside someone who has been doing this sport for a very long time. On springboard, and he's basically had to work doubly as hard as I have, basically to try and catch up with me. So it's been very fresh and very exciting, and the whole kind of experience that we've had over the past couple of months has been something new for me. and I think that keeps it just, it keeps my heart in it, because I'm 24 now, I've been doing this for 18 years or something like that. Like, it's hard to keep the motivation going, but when you've got something new and fresh like this, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
But a lot of eyes are on us, and we're okay with that. It's just about getting Dan experience on springboard, experience together, working out how each other compete. Everyone looks at me as the Olympic champion on springboard, but no one looks 4 or 5 years back when me and Chris started, and we were scoring, similar things, having similar problems. It took a long time to work out. So, luckily we've both got that experience now, and we're going to work really hard to get even better.
Game faces on. I mean, we've spoken about you coming down from 10 metre to 3 metre. That is a big change. Are you enjoying that transition?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think one of the main reasons I came down to the springboard was because I did really enjoy it. I mean, I was getting injured a lot on the 10 metre as well, and I still like the tower, but I mean, I've found a new passion really in the springboard, and obviously an opportunity comes along like this not very often to dive with someone like Jack. And I think it's good that it's a challenge as well. I think it would be it wouldn't feel right if we just sort of nailing our first list straight off.
Yeah.
So I think a lot about today was going out there and just doing our first competition, getting the nerves off, and then looking forward to what we can hopefully do for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all really excited to see what you guys do pull off. Now, our competition's still got 2 more days. Events that you aren't in, I'm asking everyone this, what are you excited to see? Who are you looking forward to see dive?
For me, I'm looking forward to seeing Tom and Matty dive together for the first time. Obviously, the other new pairing that we've got in Britain.
Yeah.
2 very talented divers, obviously. 2 of our very close friends as well, so really looking forward to that. And I'm probably looking forward to women's 3 metre, actually. I think there's going to be a lot of competition there, and I think there's some very good girls who are all around a similar standard. Obviously, you've got some standouts like Catherine Grace, but I think that fight for that 3rd place is going to be really interesting. So I think there's some interesting competitions, and I'm really excited for all of them. Obviously, my event as well in 3 metre.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course. A little bit biased
yeah,
there,
of course.
But look, guys, congratulations on your gold. I'm going to get your photo. We've got our best of British up here. Everyone who's taken a gold, be joining me and Chris. Here it is. I'm terrible with technology. Let's get your photo. 3, 2, 1. Brilliant stuff. We'll get you to sign that and we'll get it up on the wall. Brilliant. But congratulations once again on the gold. Now I'm going to bring in Chris. Come on in, come and join me. Yeah, finishing off day 1. There you go, grab a mic. Come on, Chris. Well, day 1 done. There you go, Jesse. Day 1 done.
Yeah.
How was that for you? I mean, pretty incredible stuff, right?
It was intense, yeah. You know what? Watching the 3 metre synchro, it was just a really good display of power. Like, these boys, what they're doing up there, I think they're the next wave of what the future's going to hold. Like, for Tokyo, they've got real potential. They didn't quite show it today, and they didn't quite nail it, but that competition experience is key for Dan to get, because Jack, I just said to Dan just a minute ago, when Jack's in competition, it's like in training you're right, and then in competition, like, why are you up there? Yeah. It's like adrenaline, and he just goes up and up and up. It's like, why? It's just so strong.
But not just, obviously, we finished with that one, but throughout the entire day today, I was talking about Haslam boys, it's been an incredibly close race for every single event. It's been down to that last dive, the women's 1 metre, the men's 1 metre, of course, the 10 metre synchro and this. You kind of had no idea which way it was going to go.
It really has. With Eden and Lois obviously taking the win, that was really good for them. But that was really close. I think it was 0.8. I think it was.
Yeah.
In diving, that's the difference between not even half a mark. That's the difference between like a 0.1 of a degree of difficulty on one dive. So really, really close. And the boys 1 metre as well. Ross obviously coming away with the win. That's really good for him. Looked really confident in the synchro, but didn't quite hit it home. It's been a really good day of events, and I think it really shows the depth that we have in British diving. I think that's just really good for our future.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw there, I just want to ask you about this as well, because I know you're such good friends with Yona. Yona and James came out there. I mean, had a great sort of event, and then sort of failed that last dive. How, you've been in a position like that, where you're in a contention for a medal, and then it's gone in a second.
Look, I've been there, I've done that, and you do, in that moment, you make a fool of yourself. I was at a World Series in Canada, and we were literally winning the event. It was going really, really well.
It is.
And, there's the dive. I was there, I went up in my hurdle step, and I don't even know what happened. My back twinged a bit, and I jumped in, Jack did his dive, and there I was in the water swimming back, and it was a failed dive. It's just, that's diving. That's what happens, and we all can see how good these guys are and where they get it right. But it's that easy to get it wrong. James has got European titles. He's almost medalled at at World Cups and stuff like that on 1 metre. and we see him there on the 3 metre, one of his best dives, or reverse twist, and he just jumps in because that is diving.
Yeah, I know. As we have said a couple of times throughout the day, it's got to happen on the day. Well, Chris, it's been an incredible day one. We've got day 2 tomorrow. We're going to be live back on air tomorrow at 3:15 p.m. live on BBC Sport and BBC Connected TV. Of course, the prelims are happening tomorrow morning as well. You can check them out on British Swimming YouTube page if you want to check that out. But loads more action. If today's anything to go by, it's going to be pretty awesome, right?
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Big thank you to Bob Ballard up there in commentary as well. We couldn't have done it without you. And to everyone at home who has tuned in, it's been awesome having you. Thanks for joining us at Deep End Live. My name's John Mason. This is Chris Mears. We'll see you tomorrow.
The latest in tech suit innovation. Frictionless fiber construction. Surface lift technology. Endo compression cage. Seamless exo shell. Tier Benzo. Battleborn.